The Academic Staff Union of Universities, Asuu, has urged the federal government to honor the 2009 FG Asuu agreement or face a nationwide industrial action. Asuu President Chris Paiwuna issued this warning during a news conference in Abuja on Friday. He stressed the importance of the government fulfilling its promises and addressing the worsening conditions in Nigerian universities. According to him, 9 critical issues remain unresolved, including the stalled renegotiation process since 2007. I'm sorry about that. So thank you, Mr. Ikechukwu. He mentioned withheld salaries from the 2022 strike and unpaid entitlements linked to the contentious integrated payroll and personnel information system. Paiwuna also criticized the delayed release of revitalization funds and earned academic allowances due to government inaction. In spite of promises to inject 150 billion naira into universities and adjust irregular allowances by 2016, he said these commitments remain unfulfilled. He highlighted the marginalization of Asuu members at state institutions such as Kogi State University and Lagos State University. I really don't know why I'm stuttering today. According to him, victimization, salary denial, and job insecurity persist in those universities, undermining staff morale. The federal government actually came to say that 450 billion naira has been put for the Asuu, I think around the last year, around the ended period of last year, that they released those funds to sort out most of these needs that Asuu has come up to say, like the ones they mentioned. I really don't know if you were affected by the Asuu strike while you were in school at the time, but I was actually affected. Asuu was already initiated at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, Asuu has always been there like forever. And of course, the only way you wouldn't have been affected by Asuu strike is for 2 reasons. If you didn't school in Nigeria, or you were a non-academic student.
Yes, that's how you
but if
affected. Or you studied in a private university.
Okay,
I don't think private universities
private
also
university, yes. Private universities are not affected because of their own system, even if their members are members of Asuu, but they have a different, which is even something that had to be looked into, the membership on this thing.
Well, this is the 2009 agreement that is still pending up till now.
Yeah, this is the new president of Asuu. He just took over from Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, and I think he's starting on a good ground. You see, the thing is that most of the times, unfortunately so, there would always be disparity from what government claim they want to do or they have done and what has actually been done, and this ought not to be so. And this is an agreement entered since 2009 till date. That's over 10 years, 2009 to 2019. That's over getting close to 15 years. Yeah, this is 2025. Yeah, no, it's over 15 years. Yes, about 16 years or so. I mean, by now the agreement we should be talking about a renegotiation now. And you see, this points me back to what I just said some minutes ago. Every sector is crying for funds. If you consider the amount mentioned here and consider the amount that comes up on the news every day about somebody somewhere, some institution missing funds and all that, just one of these funds is enough to resolve this Asuu issue. And if you look at what Asuu is asking for, Asuu has not always been asking for themselves. It's about the school system. Our school system are in shambles. Go to our laboratories, our computer sciences in the university. How many of them look like a 21st century computer science lab? Go to our engineering department. I mean, there are universities all around us here. Go to the laboratories. Just take a walk into our universities, our libraries. Our school system would do better if these agreements are fulfilled. But unfortunately, over the years, we have had successive government that care less about education. Ordinarily, how many governments have come and gone since 2009? 2009, I think that agreement was reached during the Jonathan era. Since then, you have had 4 years Buhari tenure. You have had, come on, it doesn't look like a people who are serious about education. And there is no way you talk about developing the Nigerian society without developing. I mean, every time you hear governors, political officials that talk about human capacity development, what is human capacity development without the universities? Human capacity development talk about building the people. You can't build the people if your school systems are in shambles. It's not, how do you want to build them? It doesn't happen that way. It raises a whole lot of questions about the sincerity of those in power to solving these problems. What does it take to meet with Asuu? Like I keep saying, transparency. What does it even take to transparently show them that, okay, this is what we can do now?
Well, if the federal government said they will release 150 billion naira for your needs, most of your needs, you know, I think it was about 50 billion that was released, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I am not mistaken on that. For the needs of Asuu, and at that time it was more like a happy situation. But Asuu coming
happy because a promise was made. What then? Despondence sets in when that promise is not fulfilled, or maybe if you, in some cases where you attempt to fulfill it, you didn't fulfill it. There is no follow up to ensuring that happens. It's like making you a promise. I'm sitting with you and I say, hey, come on, Chidima, I'm going to take you out after this show to buy this thing. That could cheer you up, right? What if after the show I go the other way, pretend I don't know you? The happiness will automatically disappear. I mean, think about that little child you have in the house that you make a promise to, that, oh, you're going, I say, bye-bye, you know, when I'm coming back, I'm going to buy you XYZ. The child is expecting you to come back, and you come back with a stern face rather than that gift. The child that happily welcome you may become despondent again because you have refused to do your own side of the. So this is what happens in most cases. It's one thing for government to make a promise, it's another thing to live out that promise.
Okay, referring to this Asuu strike, like that's why I had to ask you the first question, if you've actually been a victim of the Asuu strike.
Before I got into the university, while we were applying to get into university, there was an Asuu strike that delayed our set from coming to the university.
For how long?
It was over 6 months strike. Then that was one of the longest strike that we got into university.
I think the maximum is most likely 6 to 8 months.
Yes. Then as at time we were about to graduate, there was another strike. Also, as the time we are doing project, you know, so the Asuu strike has become a recurrent phenomenon in Nigeria.
A few analysts have said that why will Asuu have to strike just to get their needs
because
known?
That's the only language the Nigerian government understands. And most of the times, what people don't understand is this: you can't always blame Asuu for going on strike. Asuu don't go on strike most of the time because of the needs of their members. They are asking for the improvement of the educational system. You see, there are many systems, because we know of Asuu because Asuu would always talk, because Asuu is a conscientious institution that has refused to keep quiet and watch the system go into decay. If you take a walk, for example, into some of our general hospitals, whether they be state or not, you will understand why there should be strike in these sectors every day. Unfortunately, when these strikes happen, like the saying goes, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. Unfortunately, when this strike happens, the student suffers. The parents suffers. But that seems to be the only language our government understands. Some of the minimal improvements you have seen in the system is because Asuu spoke up. If Asuu did not speak up, some of these things will not happen. And also have an option of keeping quiet and joining the bandwagon, satisfying itself and what the system wrought, or do what they have been doing. But I think what they have been doing is in the best interest of Nigeria. So when I hear people blame Asuu, it is because they seem not to understand why Asuu is striking or goes on strike, and maybe because they pander towards government propaganda more than they listen to Asuu. All you need to do is ask that your younger brother, ask that your younger cousin, ask that your neighbor that is in university what the school system is. Ask them how many of them are in their class. Ask them the mode of communication in their class. In some cases where you are supposed to communicate with a public address system. The public address system is brought and there is no battery, something as simple as that. I mean, we can't run our educational system that way.